Hey folks, Elk Talk Live, Wednesday night. How about it, huh? You like my mini pearl hat right here? Elk Talk Live is brought to you by Bowtech. The reason I'm wearing this and this today is I wanted to remind you that out at Bowtech, go to bowtecharchery.com. They got this really cool shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff. And the same at Leupold, go to leupold.com. You can get your little mini pearl hat. If you watch Hee Haw as a kid, or if you didn't, say you're younger, maybe your grandparents watch Hee Haw, Google who Mini Pearl is, and you'll know. So I'm leaving this little sticky tag on here today in honor of Mini Pearl. So don't tell me, hey Randy, you got a tag on your hat. I already know that. So we are here to talk about elk hunting every year. Most of the draws are behind us, but before we do that, we got to make sure that everybody understands that this is brought to you by Bowtech, by Leupold, by Onyx Maps. Use promo code Randy at onyxmaps.com and get 20% off all app purchases. GoHUNT.com. If you go to GoHUNT.com and sign up for the Insider and use promo code Randy, you get $50 of credit in their gear shop. And just the other day, Marcus was out turkey hunting with one of the Rocky Mountain hunting calls, turkey calls, and he and Michael, well, Marcus shot a turkey, Michael didn't. He shot it with his Bowtech Realm. So go to Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, use promo code Randy and save 15%. And it's also brought to you by Tight Spot, Ripcord, and Black Gold. So hopefully you'll share this with your friends. And if you want to get notified, text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 64600. And now it's time for me to log into the chat feature. Who is asking questions here? The thing is, they buzz by so fast, a lot of times I can't read them all, so I apologize if I miss a bunch of them. Matt says, hey, I loved your conservation podcast. Thanks, Matt. That's good feedback for us. We get a lot of, what would I call it? Yeah, I'd call it feedback. Some people say, why are you wasting our time with all this conservation stuff? Well, I'm just going to tell you how I feel about it. And if you don't agree, that's fine. But my theory is that conservation is easy to talk about. Where the rubber meets the road is when it actually costs you some time, some of your money, or the opportunity costs, or you got to adapt or change your way of doing things a little bit in order to make conservation work, to accommodate the wild places and the wild things. That's when conservation gets serious, and that's why we talk about it so much on our platform. So, elk conservation is a big part of that. Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation is a huge part of elk conservation. Matt says, Randy, I put in for a tag in Wyoming. Let's see. You put in for it. Doesn't say if you must be a Wyoming resident then. I hope you draw that tag. It's a really fun hunt. I haven't had the archery tag. We rifle hunted in that unit. That was a ton of fun. There are more elk in the bighorns. The bighorns of Wyoming is like, elk are like rabbits there. I don't know how they can have that level of elk densities, but the elk densities in the Bighorn Mountains of Wyoming are very, very high. There goes Instagram. Sorry, folks. Hopefully it didn't ruin my phone.
And we're back.
Are we still live on Instagram?
We're still live, yeah.
Wow.
Just
So,
poor tripod setup.
yeah. Marcus is over here. He's got more gaffer's tape around my phone because we've not yet developed a way that won't mess up my camera on the phone. In Instagram, the only way they'll let you do Instagram Live is from a phone. They won't let me do it from my computer here. So anyhow, on Instagram, there was a question that says, do I need a spotting scope to hunt elk in Colorado? If you're archery hunting, I'd say no, you don't need one. If you're rifle hunting, I'd think about having one, or at least have a really, really good pair of binoculars. In rifle season, while elk hunting, I'm always using a spotting scope. It's one of those don't leave home without it. Hey Jeff, don't be telling me about the tag on my hat, man. If you would have been here on time, you would have known the story about the tag on my hat. Give me a break, man. It's not a millennial thing. In fact, it's anti-millennial. It's mini pearl on Hee Haw back in the 1970s. Go to Leupold, get yourself some Leupold swag, or go to Bowtech, do the same thing. So, look at all these people. They're like, Randy, you have your tag on your hat. No, I get that. I know that. I got my tag on my hat on purpose. So, let's see. Randy, when are you going to step out of your element and do an elk muzzleloader hunt? Probably never. And the reason being is I do a lot of archery hunting and I do a lot of rifle hunting. And I've shot, let's see, how many deer have I shot with a muzzleloader? I think I've shot 4 deer with a muzzleloader. So I have one and I've used one, but it's just not something I'm probably going to do in the show. The last deer I shot with my muzzleloader, I think, was 2007. So it's fun. I have nothing against it. Don't get me wrong from that standpoint. Oh yeah, Cabot says BR549. Now, Cabot has watched Hee Haw, right? Junior Samples, BR549. Anyhow, that scrolled across the screen and distracted me. But as far as muzzleloader hunting for elk, it's a ton of fun. I'm sure it is. I've not done it. I've had friends who do it. But with what we do for archery and then we jump right into rifle, the odds are I'm never going to be doing that muzzleloader hunt in between. But I may someday. But I just don't know that I will. Let's see. Remember, Nevada deadline, 29th of April. Then the last remaining deadlines are Oregon, which I gotta look. I can't remember when the Oregon deadline is. You think I'd know, but I forgot, but it's still out there. And then Idaho. I know Idaho is June 5th because I got that marked on my calendar. I saw it when I was looking at the calendar today. So we still got 3 states left that the deadlines are open. We've already went through, let's see, Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico, Montana, and Colorado. So if you haven't got your elk tag yet, you might want to think about one of those 3 states. And if you don't draw one of those 3 states, or any of the states, we're going to talk about other ways you can go elk hunting this year, even if you didn't draw, through over-the-counter and leftover tag options. But we'll get to that later. So, do I have any bird dogs? No, I don't. I had 3 dogs at one time, but I'm down to 1, and that's my wife's. Oh, don't forget Washington. You know, I get a lot of grief because I don't give Washington a lot of love, and it's just because for non-residents, if you're going to travel to Washington and hunt, you're going to drive through a lot of really good elk states. The cost is high, the experience is different, it's more crowded, and for non-residents, tag allocations are low, and it's just not the quality of experience you can have in all the states you'd be driving through. So that's why I end up not going to Washington. Randy, can you talk about cow to bull ratios? Most people call it bull to cow ratios, but yeah, I'll talk about it. What is the best for good hunting, a high or low ratio? You want a high bull to cow ratio for a lot of reasons. One, that means there's more bulls in the population, but also you're going to have more competition in the rut. So if you have say you have a bull to cow ratio over 30 to 100. They always measure it, 100 is the baseline. So if they say the bull ratio is 30, that means it's 30 to 100 cows. Well, that's really, really good. On most public land, general units in the states in the Rockies that have general elk hunting, you're not going to get to 30. You're going to be somewhere between 10 and 20 probably. And if you can find units that are in the 20s, those are places you should be looking. If you find units above 30, go hunt there. It's going to be good hunting. So I pay a lot of attention to bull to cow ratios. Let's see. Andrew's like, Randy, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know. Josh says, Randy, have you ever considered doing a pistol hunt with Todd Orr during the general elk season in Montana? We had Todd on our Hunt Talk Radio podcast, and he talked about, I think Todd told me he'd shot 28 bull elk on public land in Montana with a handgun. That's impressive. And Todd works in the woods. I mean, he's out there all the time. He's an unbelievable woods person, woodsman, whatever you want to call it. Unbelievable hunter. The last thing he probably wants is me and a camera crew following him along, making all that noise, scaring all those elk away. But it would be kind of cool to go and follow him along and see what he does. Randy, have you shot the SR6 from Bowtech? Yep, I have. I got one. I took it to Arizona, shot a javelina with it, and came to full draw on a coos deer, but didn't release an arrow. Randy, would you prefer to draw an early rifle tag in late September with less odds over a controlled rifle tag with better odds in mid-October in the same unit, and why? Oh, that's easy. Yeah, if I know the odds are lower, but if you're saying which unit would I rather hunt or which hunt would I rather go on, I'd rather go on the September hunt, no doubt. But if the September hunt is 1% odds and the October hunt you're referring to is 30% odds, I'm going on that October hunt because I just like to go. I don't want to wait for that 1% chance to come. But if the odds weren't too skewed differently, I'd probably try like heck to go on that September hunt. Let's see, Clinton says, I haven't drawn an elk tag yet. Who has over-the-counter tags as a backup? Idaho, Colorado. Lots of opportunities there. Randy, are there any wolves in the Bighorn Mountains outside of Sheridan, Wyoming? That'll create an argument, but I'd bet there are. I've hunted south of Casper, and I saw a pack of wolves. Well, I didn't see the wolves. I heard them howling, and I saw their sign. So if they're south of Casper, I have every reason to believe there's some in the Bighorns. Randy, if you draw a tag and use all of your points for that tag, will you go into the following year with 1 point if you purchased one for that year if you drew? Talking about Wyoming. Nope, you'll go to 0. So, oh, Andrew, I'm not going to answer that question. Rob asks, when's the deadline for buying a preference point in Wyoming if you miss the draw? Well, yeah, now this year, it's not even if you miss the draw. It's July 1st through September 30th, I believe. I know it's those 3 months. It might even go into October, but don't count on that. How much ground do you typically cover searching for elk in a late season hunt, say November or early December? I don't know, Marcus, what do we do, 8 to 10 miles on the bad days?
I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah, it depends on how glassable it is, how far we got to go to glassing points. I mean, sometimes we only go 3 miles, but we've had some of those 12-mile days. So you end up having to do quite a bit of hoofing. Let's see. Philip, hi from snowy Minnesota. Hey, Philip, that storm just left Montana. We're happy to give it to you. Let's see. If applying for Montana elk in a group, does the whole group get my points, or are we all on our own for our own points? You get your points averaged. So if you have 4 and the other 3 guys in your party have 0, that means there's 4 applicants with a total of 4 points. You go into the draw with an average of 1. So, but every state's different. Just because Montana does it that way. Colorado, you go into the draw with whatever point level the lowest point holder has. So if someone has 10 points and the other guy has 2, they don't average that to 6. What they do is both people go into the draw with 2 points. So before you do a party application, make sure you understand the rules for party applications in that state because they're different in every state. So. Oh yeah, someone said, Randy, we also have over-the-counter elk tags in Utah. You're right. Sorry, I forgot about that. John says, how are you adapting to the rigors of elk hunting as you age? From another aging hunter. Llamas, question mark? Yeah, llamas are, as people have seen the last 2 years when we've been using llamas, they are my, they're gonna extend my backcountry elk hunting by probably 2 years, or 2 years, by 10 years. And every day I wake up with aches and pains. This time of year, I've been at a desk so much this winter. Those of you who watch know that I'm a CPA. Even though I'm really trying to not be much of a CPA anymore, I get stuck at a desk way more than I'd like. And right now I feel so crummy, so out of shape, so bleh. So it's every year that I get 1 year older, it just gets a little worse and a little worse. Let's see. Do I pay any attention to moon phases, or how often do I? I don't. Well, let me restate that. I don't make my applications based on moon phase. I don't say, oh, I'm not going to apply this year because it's full moon or whatever. Because we have to be somewhere every week. So we're hunting in the new moon phase, the quarter moon phase, the full moon phase. We're hunting in all of it. I do pay attention to what the phase is while we're hunting, but it really doesn't affect what we're going to do or how we're going to do it. I just try to be aware of it because the elk behaviors might change slightly based on that, but I see that more amplified when the weather's hot. Full moon and hot weather, to me, I don't care what month of the year it is the worst combination you can have. Let's see. Randy, do you think it would be a benefit for Colorado to go draw only instead of over the counter to limit the number of hunters and create a higher quality hunt? I don't know about that. I would leave that up to the citizens of Colorado. If that's how Colorado wants to do it, I'm a non-resident. I'm there at whatever pleasure, whatever tags they'll allocate to us. So you'll see that a lot of times I don't really try to jump into what another state does. I live in Montana. I'm a citizen here. I can engage in what we're doing here. But I think every state, that's why the North American model of wildlife conservation is a state-based model. I think every state has to do its best for their citizens. And if Colorado says, you know what, bringing in these waves of non-residents for over-the-counter hunt is the way we want to do it, I'm fine with that. I'll go do it whenever I'm missing a tag or have a gap in my calendar. I'll be there. So Matt says, Randy, you got a tag on your hat. I know you're like the 40th guy who said that, and I can tell you chimed in late. This is the mini pearl edition right here. So I'll probably have to keep reminding people as we go along. Somebody knew what Hee Haw was because somebody on here said BR549. And I'm telling you folks, when this is over, you need to go to YouTube and type in Hee Haw mini pearl. And you'll know why I'm left tag on top of my hat. So, boy, there's a ton of them. I can't even, there's a ton of people here today. I'm so slow right now. Oh, gosh. Dave asks, would hiring an outfitter while hunting a mix of private and BLM help bring an adult onset hunter along on their learning curve? I believe it probably would. I have a debate with some of my buddies as to if I should spend the money or just keep at it on my own. The Colorado biologist I spoke with thinks it'll help. Would like your opinion. I think it would. If you've never really elk hunted and it's like this foreign thing to you, you haven't grown up in an elk hunting family or in a community where elk hunting is really the big thing, yeah, don't be bashful about it. I tell people, go hunt. I don't care if you're guided or self-guided. I don't care if you're on public or private. Our platforms are for self-guided and public land because that's what the majority of Western hunting is. 70% of hunters in the West hunt on public land. And the majority of them go self-guided. So that's why we kind of try, our why is to promote self-guided public land hunting and create advocates for that cause. So that's what our platforms are designed to do. I wouldn't want anyone to take that as some rejection or some sour feeling about hunting private land. Heck, if you got access to private, go do it. Or if you have a chance to go on an outfitted hunt, go do it and smile the whole time, learn what you can, and, you know, add to it when you go out and do it on your own. People get too worked up over that stuff. So, Scott says, you went the millennial route with the tag hanging off your hat. And you're really showing your age with the Hee Haw references. So which am I? Am I a millennial or am I an old guy? Oh, let's see. Jim says, Randy, if I were to draw a Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep next year, would you go on the hunt with us? Trust me, you don't want us going on the hunt with you. Most people think it would be cool until they see me and Marcus and Michael and all of us going through the woods. Got to do this. Hold on, slow down. We got to get this piece. Wait. We can't leave yet. We got this really beautiful sunrise. And the hunter is thinking, well, what do you mean? I got to go get that elk or that sheep. No, we got to get the shot. So trust me, going along with us is not all the fun it's cracked up to be. So on a once in a lifetime tag like that, when the draws come out, I'll get dozens and dozens of emails from people who say, I drew this tag, you want to come film it? And I scare every one of them away when I walk through the list of what it requires. And pretty much everyone says, no thanks, don't want that. And for me, I impose on my family members and I impose on my close friends. And they let me do it. So let's see. Luke asks out here on Livestream, why does Montana allow residents and non-residents to hunt for 2.5 months for both deer and elk? This seems like an insanely long season. It is an insanely long season. We get 6 weeks of archery, then they give them 5 days off, and then we get 5 weeks of rifle. So over an 11, let's see, we get 11 out of 12 weeks. So out of 3 months, we get to hunt 11 of those weeks. It's crazy. If you're an elk or deer in Montana, you're being hunted all the time. So, but now all the Montana guys are going to be, shut up, Newberg, we like those long seasons. And I do. I like having long seasons, don't get me wrong. But I don't want long seasons and opportunity if it's impacting the resource. That's my worry. So I don't know if that's really the case or not. Well, there's so many of them here. All right, what do we got over here? Whew. Do I prefer the second or third season for over-the-counter Colorado elk? I prefer the third season but a lot of the people who come to Colorado for elk hunting are Midwesterners, and their whitetail seasons are in November, whether they're doing archery or rifle. So they like to come to Colorado the second season, which is in October. And so the second season is way more crowded than the third season. And so that's why I prefer to do the third season. The other part is there's a good chance we're going to have weather. And in the second season, the bulls are in a post-rut mode. In the third season, they're in a late season mode. And you've heard me say it many times, in post-rut, that's the hardest time of the whole year to kill a bull elk on public land. It gets easier the later into November you get. So that's why I do that. So, for archery elk, would you go early for longer or later for less days? Depends on what early or later means. Because in Montana, early for us is early September. Late, we go into almost mid-October. So I'm not sure what days you mean. If I can pick my days for archery elk hunting, Marcus, he goes opening weekend, and him and his wife, Kara, they fill their tags in about an hour. Me, I like to go about September 16th through the 24th. Even though it's harder to kill a really big bull then, I just love how rutted up and bugling and crazy they are that time of year. And so I'm doing it that way, or during that period of time for that reason. Oh, Randy, how do you like your Onyx Maps? I would die without it. Well, maybe I wouldn't die, but I would not go hunting without it. Onyx Maps has revolutionized how we hunt, where we apply, how we do everything. It's just Eric, the founder, I know Eric really well. When they came out with that, I can't remember what year it was, 2010 or something like that. I bought the first chip. I thought it had to be a gimmick. I bought it at Sportsman's Warehouse, and the guy tells me, oh no, this is what it does. I bought it, I'm like, oh my gosh. I looked on the packaging and I called the number and it was Eric. The guy, the founder, he's answering the phone, doing everything. I ordered every state they could make, back when it was in a chip. And it was the best money I spent that entire year. And then when they put it in an app on your phone, life just got even better. So, Onyx Maps, go there, onyxmaps.com, use promo code Randy and save 20% on any apps that you purchase out there. Randy, are you applying for moose this year? Yep, I applied for moose in Montana and in Utah. I got to decide what I'm going to do in Idaho this year. I think in Idaho I'm going to do deer, elk, and antelope, and I'm going to pass on moose finally. How do you judge big elk on the hoof? Depends on if you're talking about body size big or antler size big. If you've been doing it long enough, you kind of get a feel for it. For me, I'm really not into scores, so I don't really care what it scores, even though in my head I kind of have a feeling, and I have my own system for doing that. But I don't know. Other than experience and looking at a lot of elk, that's the only answer I really have. Let's see. What precautions do I take in rattlesnake country? None, really. I run into them, but never. I have this snake karma thing that I believe in, and it's probably stupid. After I said this, I'm probably going to get bit by a rattlesnake this year, but when I run into a rattlesnake, I just detour around them. My theory is I leave them alone, they'll leave me alone. They're an important part of the entire system. And I could see if people like eating them, why you'd shoot them and eat them. That's fine. I do struggle, though, with just shooting them and killing them for the heck of it. I mean, people have been doing it for years, I know, and someone's going to say, well, you knucklehead, here's why. I just don't. I think they're cool. So I let them go about their way, and I don't worry about them. I don't take any special precautions or anything like that. Let's see. Mystery Ranch packs, Metcalf or Beartooth? How's the Beartooth as a day pack? I have both. I took my Beartooth 80 to Alaska for a 10-day sheep hunt, and it performed marvelously. It just, man, it's an amazing pack. If it's my day pack, I'm probably still going to stick to my Metcalf. It's a little smaller pack than the Beartooth, and it compresses down. They both compress down way flatter than you think. I could use either one of them as a day pack, but a Metcalf is going to carry more. It's going to fit more meat in it. If I shoot an elk, it's going to fit more meat than I can physically carry. So I don't need even more volume that comes with the Beartooth. The Metcalf is all the volume I really need for what I do, so that's why I'd probably go with a Metcalf if I was just doing day hunts. If I'm doing, probably regularly doing hunts that are 4+ days or longer, then I'd probably go with my Beartooth. So I love having them both. Do I carry a first aid kit in my pack? Yeah, I have an abbreviated first aid kit in my pack. I have a bigger one back at camp, and back in the truck I have even a bigger one. Adventure Medical Kits have been sending me stuff, and it's really, really cool stuff. Go check them out. They got some really cool things. Oh, you guys are so funny, some of these comments or some of these responses. Suggestions for a transponder to use in the backcountry. I've heard the Garmin InReach is the best option, but not sure. I have a Garmin InReach, and it's the only option I know, so I can't speak about other ones. So that's what I have, and that's what I use, and it works great. Well, I've not had to use it for an emergency. Let me restate that. But when I do it to text my wife and stuff, it works really good. I got to figure out, I guess there's an app though where you can text on your phone and it goes to your inReach, so you're not sitting there on that little rubber keypad. Brrr, brrr. That's annoying. So I got to get that figured out for this year. Let's see. Cindy asks, "Hi Randy, going on my first elk hunt in Colorado if I draw. If not, then doing an over-the-counter in that unit that I'm e-scouting as we speak. The e-scouting series was fantastic. Are you going to follow up on that series?" Yep. We're going to do a little bit more of it. We're going to use the same videos, but Onyx and us are talking about how we can pick pieces of that and emphasize a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. Maybe give a little more of a scenario of how this applies or how that applies. But it's going to be based on the same 12 videos that you saw us do. And hopefully people will get some benefit of it. Now that New Mexico's license is not refundable, would you still apply or change to Idaho if you could only do one state? No, I'd still go with New Mexico because that New Mexico license is $65. The Idaho license, I believe, is $160. So I just... Oh, Gary just said that Garmin app you're talking about is called EarthMate. There you have it. Ha, I better come back to this. EarthMate. Okay. We're getting so many comments from so many places, and some of them are so funny. I almost should copy and paste these comments, and we should do a list of them. Hey, Marcus, can you grab that spotting scope up above you there? So, someone asks, Randy, what's this new spotter you've been using? Ta-da! This is the Sanium HD. It's the SX5 from Leupold. This is the angled model. I didn't know if there's a picture on this side. And so I have the straight model. I love it. Absolutely love it. Get one. You'll be happy that you got one. Do I like it better than the gold ring? I do. I like it better than the gold ring, but last year some people said, Randy, I saw you using your gold ring on that backpack hunt. Yeah, because the gold ring, the 60 millimeter gold ring, is still to this day the most compact, lightweight 60 millimeter spotting scope I know of, and it's got super good glass in it. So if I'm going on these super long hikes, like on that sheep hunt we did, I brought a 60 millimeter because it weighs less. So these are 80s, they're gonna weigh a little more. So, love them both. Randy, did I hear you mention that you've retired from your CPA practice? No, I've not retired, I'm pretty much just quit. Retired implies you got enough money. I just wanna hunt and fish more, so I'm just gonna quit. I don't know, give me another year or so. I don't know, maybe, down at the CPA firm, they probably say, he quit a long time ago. That guy, he hasn't shown up for a week. So, oh well. It's that time of year for CPAs. They get a little growly this time of year. So if I look ornery, this is the highlight of my week, getting to come here and do this. Randy, what do you typically use the GoHUNT Insider system for? Where to start? That's a long question, or that question has a lot of answers. Obviously, I use it for the draw odds. They're the best draw odds out there. People can say this is just as good, that's just as good. No, they're not. I'm just flat out telling you that. No one else hires the statisticians and the PhDs of the math world like GoHUNT does. Then they have strategy articles that Brady and Trail write that are amazing. They're really, really good. They can be up to 40 pages long. But every bit of it is useful information. And then they have this filtering system. It's called Filtering 2.0. So they take all of this information that if you wanted to spend hours and hours or days and weeks, you could go plug it. Yeah, I'll grab that from this website. I'll get that from this website, and I'll mix it all together, try to No, it's in their system, everything's right there at your fingertips. Oh, there goes we lost the Instagram feed again. You folks on Instagram are wondering what's going on. We've got this thing taped here and the gaffer's tape keeps falling apart. But anyhow, back to GoHUNT. So their filtering 2.0 is so slick. I can say, all right, I'm looking for a unit that's 50% public land. I'm looking for a unit that I have at least 40% draw odds as my first choice. And I'm looking for a unit that has whatever harvest success. Whew. I hit filter and here they all come. I know exactly what it is. So I can spend all kinds of different what if scenarios in there and get my answers. And then once I have those answers, I start researching every place I can think of. They have great overviews of all the units. So I use it for so many things. A lot of people are like, man, you talk about that a lot. Yeah, it's why we draw so many tags. If it was not for the GoHUNT system, we would not draw as many tags. I can tell you that flat out. So hopefully that answers the question of what we typically use it for. And go out there and sign up for the Insider and use promo code Randy and you're going to get $50 of Mad Money in their store credit. Let's see. Someone says, ha, taxes. I'm eyeball deep into my receipts right now. If you're into your receipts right now, you're not one of my clients. Don't even show up at my practice with something this time of year. I'm fishing. People ask me, Randy, you're the happiest CPA I ever know in April. Yep. If you show up after about March 1st, you need a different CPA because I'm not your guy. Let's see. Randy, I'm a Midwest whitetail hunter and I've never needed to look at a topo map. Could you do a video on reading topo maps on Onyx? Out on our YouTube channel, we have one about map reading skills. So we did that video 2 years ago, I think, something like that. So it's out there. Go to our YouTube channel. It's called Randy Newberg Hunter. And in the video search box, just type in map skills or map reading or something, and it should come up. So, have I ever hunted the Gospel Hump area in Idaho? I've not. Someone says, Randy, I was fishing a lot of ling. They must have read Sam Lundgren's article where I was quoted about my feeling about ling, which we call them lawyers in Minnesota. And yes, that was in reference to the profession of lawyering. Go read the article that Sam wrote. It's more than I can describe here. Am I applying for tags in Nevada this year? Yep, I did. Let's see. Desert bighorn, California bighorn, antelope, elk, and then deer. I put in for the easiest unit there is for archery deer. I love hunting mule deer with a bow. It's my favorite way to hunt mule deer. I think we all have, okay, this species I like to hunt more with a bow than a rifle or vice versa. For me, when it comes to mule deer, I love hunting them with a bow. So I wanted to go to Nevada this year, so I put in for a unit that last year anyhow, you never know what, because the odds change every year, right, by how many people apply. I applied in a very easy unit, so if things are similar to last year, I should draw my Arizona archery mule deer tag. Everything else I applied for, my odds, I don't have enough points for any species where my odds are over probably 5%. So odds are I'm not gonna apply, I'm gonna apply, but I'm not gonna draw anything in Nevada other than deer this year. Any advice for a first-time elk hunter hunting bull elk in Arizona Unit 1? Well, first of all, I would go to church next Sunday and I'd give a prayer of thanks. That is, I helped a friend who had that tag. It is the most unbelievable elk hunting. Whew, you're gonna have fun. I don't care if it's early rifle, archery, late rifle. That place has more elk. The number of elk in Unit 1 in Arizona is crazy what the elk densities are. So you're gonna have a ton of fun. I don't know what season you have. If you have the late rifle season, I would go into those burns, and there was a huge burn there. I think it was 2011 or 12, and that stuff's all greened up, and I would go into those canyons that burned and be looking for sanctuaries if it's the late rifle tag. Randy, are you looking forward to the RMEF banquet in Bozeman on Saturday? I better be looking forward to it because I'm the MC. So if you're going to be there, don't throw anything at me. But no, I'm always the MC of that event. Have a ton of fun. It raises a lot of money, and it does so much good for public access. It's just unbelievable how much benefit we as hunters, all public land people, all lovers of wildlife get. And the Elk Foundation, for every dollar they raise, they get to leverage it with all these state agencies, all these money, federal matching monies and stuff. Your dollar to the Elk Foundation probably, they have this number and I should know it, but it turns into like $4 of conservation and access after, well, $4 more or something like that. It's just great. And I don't care what organization it is. Go do it. Be involved in conservation, and it's a ton of fun. So, so now that I answered someone's question about Unit 1 in Arizona, Lou says, okay, everybody apply for Unit 1. Laugh out loud. Christian says, Randy, come hunt Unit 1 September bulls with me. Man, no. If Marcus and I weren't going to British Columbia, I might take you up on that offer. I don't know you from anybody, but to go back in Unit 1 in Arizona in September, that's a temptation almost more than I could bear. Let's see, someone asked, where was it? When do New Mexico tag draw results come out? I think the emails are supposed to come out on April 24th, if I remember. Let's see, where did that go? There's a really good question here, and it scrolled through so fast I couldn't find it. Oh well, sorry. I guess I missed it. Oh, here's one. First time hunting in grizzly country this year. Any do's and don'ts? Yeah, I got a lot of do's. Do keep a clean camp. Don't let food and other stinky stuff be out on the landscape, be in your tent, anything like that. Understand that in the fall, grizzly bears are in a condition called hyperphagia. They are taking on thousands and thousands of calories at that time of year, getting ready for hibernation. And anything that smells like food, they're going to get it. And they're not accustomed to anyone not letting them have their way. So if you've got stinky food in your tent, you might have a tent mate. So there are regulations of what you have to do in the backcountry and grizzly country related to food storage, related to what kind of camp you keep. Go download those and follow them religiously. Don't cut any corners. It's a ton of fun hunting in grizzly country. It adds a little bit of a, I don't know, excitement factor, a little bit of an awareness, alertness factor, but it's really fun. In most states, I would say in Montana and Wyoming, the best elk hunting in those states are in the areas with the highest grizzly densities. So, do I apply for controlled hunts in Idaho? Yeah, in the years that I don't apply for moose, I do apply for the controlled hunts. Don't know that I'm ever gonna draw one, but hopefully someday. Let's see. How long does it take for elk to return to an area after they've been spooked? Depends on the time of year and the amount of other hunting pressure. So if you spook them and people are continually going back there every morning, there's someone walking through there in the dark, they're probably never coming back there. If it's a limited entry unit and you bump them one morning or one evening, they might be back there in another day or two if there's not a lot of pressure and human activity going on there. I guess the answer I'm saying is it all depends. Randy, do you use bear spray? Yep, I do. For sure I do. I use bear spray, and people say, why don't you use a sidearm or a handgun? Well, for a lot of reasons. One, I'm terrible with a handgun. Oh, we lost our Instagram feed again. I think we're just going to shut down Instagram.
Yeah.
Our tape was just, sorry folks on the Instagram feed.
Duct tape.
But I use all the time bear spray. You see me and the crew, we all use it. I've had 2 close encounters with grizzly bears, and I can assure you in both of them, if that bear had decided to come towards me instead of run away from me, he would have been on me before I could have drawn a firearm, a handgun or a sidearm. Uh-oh, now it says our Facebook has ended. What?
It's coming back up now. It's had a glitch. Is it coming back up yet?
It says we're coming back up. So it appears we lost everybody there. We lost Livestream. What was the glitch?
I don't know. It just it had it off for a second. Now it says we're 29 seconds in.
Yeah, it's not working on Livestream.
It says we're live. I don't know.
Really? Oh, it says live now.
Facebook?
Looks like it. Sorry, folks. Have no idea what happened there. We use this service called Livestream, and every once in a while it has a glitch and we lose it. So, sorry about that. Don't know what or why, but it went went blank, right? You all saw that. I was in the middle of talking about why I use bear spray instead of using a handgun. And I was at the point of saying, because when I have had encounters, if the bears would have come towards me instead of went the other direction, there's no way I could have drawn a handgun in time. And that bear would have been on top of me. I wouldn't have had any way to defend myself, really. And everyone says, well, just pull your handgun when the bear's on top of you. Go talk to Todd Orr. Go talk to other people who've tried to defend themselves when the bear's on them. You naturally put an arm up to protect yourself, protect your face, and that bear goes and you've got a broken arm. Very many people who do that end up with a broken arm, torn tendons. Now how are you going to shoot your handgun? So I want something that's right here beside me, and if I'm trying to protect my neck and my back, I can spray bear spray. I know some will say, Newberg, someday you're going to be a grizzly turd and you're going to wish you had that. You're right. Maybe I would. But so Corey has asked this question many times. Randy, you ever hunt the Castle Mountains of Montana? I have not. You ever hunt them, Marcus?
Nope.
Nope, Marcus hasn't either. So, and the reason being is when you look at it, it's much of a checkerboard of public, private. And I know there's a few places there where you can hunt some public land, but it gets pretty crowded. Randy, will you be at the BHA Rendezvous in Boise in May? Yep, I'll be there. Marcus will be there. Michael going to be there?
Yep.
Michael will be there. So, yeah, we'll be easy to find. Me and Corey Jacobson, you know, we do that Elk Talk podcast together. We're going to be doing a live Q&A session. We have a film that premieres that Marcus has put together. He's been working on it for over 2 years called Reindeer. It's about black-tailed deer. That will premiere at Boise. So, yeah, we got a lot going on there. Let's see. Yeah, we lost you for a minute there. Sorry about that, Slimfin. We don't know what happens, but every once in a while, this little device we got on top of the camera, they make us put this little device and it hooks up directly through an Ethernet cable into our Wi-Fi. And every 5th or 6th episode, we get a little glitch. So, will pronghorn be okay in a cooler for 7 days if kept cool? I wouldn't push it for 7 days. I'd try to get it somewhere before then. And it's not just pronghorn, I'd say that with any meat. I don't like it staying in a cooler for that long. A cooler is not a controlled enough temperature. You know, like your refrigerator or your freezer, you can set that and that temperature is within a degree the whole time. cooler can't quite be that consistent. And when you get out to 7 days, I personally wouldn't risk it. Maybe someone will chime in and say, oh, don't worry about it. Hey, Kim, I'm not taking the tag off my hat, okay? I'm just not. You got to go and Google mini pearl and Hee Haw. Okay, so is altitude sickness a common possibility if you're coming from low elevation? Yes, it's a very common possibility. I would go, I did an article for Bugle magazine about altitude sickness. Well, not the altitude sickness itself, but just issues that hunters from lower elevations need to think about when they come to the higher elevation hunts, especially in earlier seasons, but even in later seasons. In earlier seasons, the elk are up higher, so I think you get a higher incident of it than you do in November and December. But you don't realize how dehydrated you're getting. You don't realize that through just how much breathing you're having to do, and that is dehydrating you significantly. You're probably not getting enough rest. You're probably not going to be eating as well as you could. There's all these things that contribute to it, and I've never had it, but I've talked to people who have, and they say it's super, super miserable. So, Mark asked, Randy, what units do you prefer in Idaho? Anyone who follows our stuff knows that we don't give unit numbers. We get enough heat by just saying, oh, we're in central Wyoming or northern Arizona or eastern Montana. We get so much heat over that, I can't imagine if we started giving out unit numbers. So I hope you understand. Out of respect for those people who apply there and those people who hunt there, we just don't give out unit numbers. All right. What else we got here? Randy, any plans for another podcast with Shane Mahoney? Yeah, we've tried twice this winter to do them, and we're like ships in the night. Even when we're in the same town or even at the same trade show, seems like we can never connect. So hopefully we'll get there. Randy, which of the three senses is the most keen in an elk? Definitely their nose. I would say an elk is almost like a white-tailed deer when it comes to their nose, and not too much different from a mule deer when it comes to their ears. I think most people would definitely say that at least for me and most of the hunters I talk to, they would say most of their opportunities when they get messed up are messed up on account of scent, nose, smell. Let's see. Have you or do you apply for tags in the northeastern states? I used to, but I gave up on it. I used to apply in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, and I just, the odds are so slim, and we have so much good hunting in the West. And most of our sponsors, we tell them we're going to hunt Western big game. For us to go back east or to the Midwest is outside of what they want us to do, and they already have platforms to do Eastern hunting and Midwestern hunting, so it really doesn't make sense for us to duplicate some of that. Throw in the really low draw odds, and I think I gave up on those states about 3 years ago. So, let's see. What is your take on the Wasatch Mountains in Utah? Crowded, busy, but really good elk hunting if you can draw a tag. I have friends who've had the tag and they've had really, really good hunts. So the downside is that in Utah, tags are just really, really hard to draw. So wish it was different, but that's just how it is. How did I get into packing in with llamas? I met my buddy Bo Beatty. Met him 3 or 4 years ago at an outdoor event. It was a backcountry hunters and anglers rendezvous. And we had a mutual friend, Thomas Baumeister. And Thomas said, Randy, you have to come and meet Bo. And Bo and Kirsten, his wife, had their llamas there. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this just seems too good to be true. So I think it was the next year, I called Bo and said, you may not remember me. I'm the goofball you met up in Missoula at that event. He's like, oh yeah, I remember. So I tried to rent some llamas from him. He said, yeah, you can rent them, but I get to come with. So he came with, and Marcus shot a bull elk, and we were, I don't know, way back in the Wind River range and just had an amazing time. And I got to see him in action. I got to see what really good llamas are like, well-trained, well-bred llamas, and it was remarkable. So that's how I got into it. Jeff asks, Randy, while archery hunting, if you stick an elk or deer and don't make a recovery, do you keep hunting? I don't. And a lot of people see us on our show where I will keep looking for that animal or I'll keep hunting that same animal. Like there's an episode that just went up on our YouTube channel today or yesterday, is a Nevada deer hunt. And I hit a deer and I was sure it was dead. It went and laid down. It was walking in reverse. I'm like, that thing's dead. It somehow got up and made it a couple miles and we could not find it. Well, we found it again a couple days later. And I had chances at other deer over the remaining 2 days of the hunt, but I said, no. Once I hit an animal, that's my animal. This is personal opinion, personal ethos, but I think my tag is good for one animal. And when I hit that animal, whether I recover it, whether it's a lethal hit or not a lethal hit, that's my animal. And I'm either done or I keep hunting, but I only hunt that animal until I either find it or season closes. That's the way I approach it. And I know that a lot of people are like, you've lost your mind, Newberg. I get it. You know, if people want to do it differently, I understand. But you ask the question of what do I do? That's what I do. So if you had a Leupold VX5 HD, would I do a 2 to 10 or a 3 to 15? I have both. For my super lightweight mountain rifles, I do a 2 to 10 because they're a little more compact and it's just a little bit lighter. On all my others, I have a 3 to 15. I'd say for general all-around use, I'd go with the 3 to 15. So you can't beat it. I love my VX5s. They're just amazing product. And if you see that gold ring on something, it's made in Beaverton, Oregon. None of this stuff made overseas like all those other companies, but we don't need to get into that discussion. James says, hey Randy, Mini Pearl had a lot more flowers in her hat, plus a price tag. Well, okay, so I got a tag, I don't have any flowers, all right? It's a male impression of Mini Pearl. Any plans to hunt eastern Montana elk in the future? Probably not. Well, I applied there for a rifle tag this year, but I'm not going to draw. The odds are really slim. So probably not in the near future, but it's a ton of fun to hunt over there. So I'll be hunting elk, I'm sure, here around Bozeman or south of Bozeman or west of Bozeman or north of Bozeman, somewhere in southwest Montana. So, let's see. Got to make sure that everybody knows that Elk Talk Live is brought to you by Bowtech, Leupold, Onyx Maps, GoHUNT.com, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Tight Spot, Ripcord, and Black Gold. And that if you want to get notified, because now we're back on the schedule of trying to do it every week. I was traveling last week. That's why we missed last week. Text Randy to 64600 and you'll get notified. Also, go out to our Amazon Prime channel. If you get Amazon Prime, we're free to watch out there on Amazon. Go to our YouTube channel, Randy Newberg Hunter. You can watch all of our stuff out there. Yeah, all that stuff. And hopefully on Wednesday nights you're chiming in here. Where is that? I just saw another really good question. Some of these questions, there's so many people on all the different platforms, they roll by so fast that I don't get a chance to read them all. Oh, Bo says, how old were you when you killed your first elk? And did you hunt mainly for meat growing up? Yeah, growing up, we hunted for meat. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still hunt for meat. But growing up in northern Minnesota, and all of you people who live in northern Minnesota where I grew up, it's still somewhat that way. A lot of what came across your table is something you got through hunting, fishing, or gardening, or berry picking, or something. so much of your food was locally sourced. It was crazy. That's what I thought. I thought everybody did that. So I moved out west in 1984, I think it was. Moved to Montana in 1991, and hunting's been about food for me. Probably always will be. You know, how old was I when I shot my first elk? I was the worst elk hunter you ever saw. I did everything wrong for the first 6 years and said, I'm tired of not getting one. And so I spent a whole summer researching and reading everything I could about elk. Opening day the next year I killed one, and it's been pretty much, I don't want to say every year, but close to every year since then. I've killed a couple, 1, 2, I don't think I've ever shot 3 in a year. So I was, let's see, I would have been 32 when I shot my first elk, I think. Yeah. Took me 6 years of trying here in Montana to kill one. That was 22 years ago, something like that. So it's what I grew up doing. It's still a big part about what I do. And I'm about the food. You know, if someone shoots a doe or a cow elk or whatever, I'm as excited for them as if they shot a bull or a buck. So I hope people understand that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, what you see behind me here, that's a really big Wyoming bull that my son shot. If there's 2 elk standing there, 2 bulls, I'm probably going to shoot the biggest one. But, you know, food is a huge part of the hunting experience for me. So, do I need to worry much about grizzlies in the Bitterroot Mountains of Idaho? Probably not much at all. There's an occasional one they say that drifts through there, but it's not on the place of current occupancy. Even though historically, many, many years ago there used to be, but not now. So, let's see. Long distance for archery, elk, and deer. What's my maximum range? 40 yards. I know there's guys that are going to be like, 40 yards? Yeah. In fact, I'd prefer to get even closer. I'll pass shots that are less than 40 yards if it doesn't feel good. And I know some people are probably thinking, Newberg, come on, you got the best gear. Well, yeah, I know. But these are living targets, and I'm not going to shoot. Whether I'm on my rifle with those crosshairs or when I'm at full draw with my bow, if I don't have that absolute, I've got it, this animal is going to have my tag as quick as I hit the trigger, then I don't shoot. I've shot a couple times when I didn't have that just absolute confident feeling. And sometimes you hit them where you don't want. And yeah, a lot of times you luck out and you recover them, but I've lost a bear. But I thought that bear I thought was done for. I still don't understand what happened there. I've hit an elk that I have no idea how it got away, but it did. And so I've had those instances, and I don't like them. And they don't feel good. So I just for me, I'm not a long distance guy. I'm lucky to have an archery range. I can shoot long distances where I live out of town here, but I don't when I'm hunting. It's just the way I am. So the person, Christian, says, Randy, can I pay for 1 hour of your CPA hourly rate to ask you Unit 1 hunting questions? That advice wouldn't even be worth what you paid for it. I'm sure of that. Does Sitka give you a promo code? No, they don't. Bart May chimed in here. Bart May is one of my hunting buddies. Don't listen to anything Bart May says. Everything he says about me is probably a fabrication. What do you think, Marcus? Have we answered enough questions today? Have we messed up our phone enough and dropped the Instagram feed often enough? Let's see. Have I ever accessed state land via a waterway? I've not accessed state land via a waterway. I've accessed BLM land via a waterway. So check it, you know, and this might be a good question to end with because it's got a lot of tentacles. Every state has a different rule about accessing via waterways. Don't assume that the state you live in is what it is everywhere else. Most people would say Montana has one of the best stream access laws in the country because as long as we stay within the high water marks, we are allowed to fish, or float, whatever, down a river. We can even get out on the beach as long as we stay below the high water mark. Now in some states, you can't even float the river where it crosses private. Some states you can float it, but you can't get out and wade. Your feet can't touch the riverbed. So the rules by every state are different. So make sure you know what those rules are in that state, but don't overlook it as an opportunity to access some really good hunting country. So with that, thanks for watching, folks. I'm going to take this hat off and give it to somebody who needs a mini pearl tag. And really appreciate all you listening. And next week, we'll be here doing the same exact thing, except for Marcus won't be here because you're going turkey hunting next week, right?
Yeah, I should be back on Wednesday, hopefully, but yeah.
So here's Marcus's job. If he doesn't hunt, he's already hunted turkey last week. He's going to hunt turkey next week. If Marcus doesn't turkey hunt and spring bear hunt in this time of year, he'd probably get fired. And then if he doesn't elk hunt every day of September that he's not filming, he's in trouble. And he actually gets paid for that. No, his job's not open, is it, Marcus? You're not quitting anytime soon? He says he's not quitting anytime soon, so you can't have Marcus's job. So thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate it.